Hey, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to Life Mastery Decoded for women and women entrepreneurs, where I help you decode the struggles in your life in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships with mind mastery and meditation tools and techniques so that you can live the life that you're proud of. Welcome to today's podcast. Hello, ladies. Welcome to today's episode, which I hope it finds you productive and excited for life. If, however, you are not feeling productive or excited for life, then it is my intention that today you find some nugget of inspiration to help change that for you. Today, however, I am feeling a little bit punky. I'm not quite crabby, but I'm a little bit tired. And I got up early, which is not unlike me, really. I mean, of course, like anybody, I like to sleep in, but I got up early to get our one son on the bus and was kind of raring to go. And I did a little bit of work on my business and I'm learning a lot. And so there's a lot of learning and then a lot of creating in my business. Like I'm creating a program and a course, and I'm working on a webinar, and I'm learning how to do this and how to put it together and all the pieces that go behind the scenes, which I'm not kidding. There's like 1,000 pieces. So like 1,000-piece puzzle. Yeah, that's my life right now. Anyway, and so it's very mentally taxing. And I worked literally 7 hours straight yesterday. And today I'm kind of feeling it, right? And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you today about is how you feel based on what you say. So I was talking to Amy on the phone. She was at work, and I'm talking to Amy on the phone and was saying, gosh, I'm really tired today. And she's like, wow, you slept pretty well last night. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I slept pretty well, but I don't really know. I'm not really crabby. I'm just like not feeling very productive. So I get off the phone with her and I just sit for a second and I'm like, I'm not going to get much done. I've got a really big chunk of time to work on some stuff. I'm really, really struggling to put things together in my business with this mental fatigue, let's say. And so I get off the phone and I just kind of sit for a minute. And as I'm looking at my business, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. There's a lot of pieces. It's like when you dump all the puzzle pieces out and you look and you start to turn them all over and you're like, oh my God, and we paid money for this? Like, why do we do this to ourselves, right? So I sit for a second, I just kind of take a deep breath. And what I did in that very moment, just to take a deep breath, is I brought all my awareness to how I feel. And in that moment, I identified I felt overwhelmed. And so in feeling overwhelmed, I asked myself, what do I want to feel? And if I don't feel overwhelmed, then what would I feel? And it would be clarity. For me, it almost always is clarity because I'm usually creating. And if any of you entrepreneurs out there, if you're creating like info products or working on your business, there's always some creative juices flowing. Okay. And for me, I love it. But because there's parts of my business that I may not be very skilled at, or it just really isn't in my repertoire of skills, then I'm working on these other pieces that I really do enjoy. Working on those other pieces that I either don't enjoy or I'm not very good at can be very mentally taxing. And so then working on the parts that I do enjoy tend to be pushed aside a little bit because I can always do that. But anyway, when I got off the phone and I kind of tapped into how I was feeling, and I was feeling overwhelmed. And I think, what do I want to feel? I want to feel clarity. And then I just realized in that very moment, what did I just send out? What intention and what energy did I just send out in my conversation with Amy on the phone? What I sent out was, I'm tired. I don't feel very productive today. I'm a little bit overwhelmed and I'm feeling kind of out of it. Well, those are intentions. Those are, no matter who you say it to, if you say it to yourself, you say it to your dog, you say it to your mailman or your partner, it doesn't matter. You sent out to the universe. So I just sent all 4 of those messages out to the universe. So eventually, just like our dog poop podcast, you're going to step through that. So now either tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to feel the same way. So as I sit here and I look at my energy scale from 1 to 10, I think, what number am I at right now as far as energy? And it was like, I was like a 2. And then I look, is this a time for self-care? Did I not get good sleep? Did I not eat appropriately? Am I not getting enough water? Should I move my body, do some exercise, or walk on the treadmill, or take the dogs for a walk or something? And I kind of check all those boxes to see if there's any self-care that needs to be done. And so I took a warm shower, and actually it was a pretty hot shower, and used some, this really fun body wash to this kind of calm my overwhelm down. And then I went to the grocery store and I picked up a few things. I'm like, well, I'll just get out of the house and go get some fresh air. And I took the dogs with me. And so that's always fun to have them in the car with me and while they're experiencing new things and stuff. And then by the time I got home, then self-care, oh yeah, now I'm hungry. So I ate a little lunch and drank a great big glass of cold water. And as I'm up and moving around and I look at my business, I think, okay, I don't feel as overwhelmed. And I'm starting to feel better because I did this awareness. Because I think truly, if I did not check in with myself, identify that emotion, and identify exactly what it was that I wanted to feel, I would still be feeling overwhelmed and I would still be feeling kind of punky. And so what I'm saying to you and what I'm going to challenge you or encourage you to do on a regular basis is to check in with yourself often and figure out exactly what it is that you're feeling. If you are feeling a negative emotion, check in with yourself. What are you feeling? What would you be feeling if you weren't feeling that negative emotion like I did with overwhelm? If I wasn't feeling overwhelmed, what would I be feeling? Or what would I want to be feeling? And then try to encourage yourself to get into that emotion. So if you listen to my other episodes, you know already thoughts are things, and that thinking becomes a physical response. So somewhere, I don't know, in the night, who knows when, I was thinking, I'm going to be tired tomorrow, or man, this is really fatiguing, or I'm really this or really that, whatever it was. And then I started to experience it. Well, we shouldn't be confused about what we're experiencing because it wasn't that long ago that we were thinking this thought that brought us to this emotion. Okay? And if you haven't listened to that podcast, please go back and listen to it. Let me look real quick and see exactly which one that is. All right, it's episode number 15, Emotional Management. And I encourage you to listen to that episode to kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about if you haven't already done that. So what I ended up doing was thinking the thought of being tired, being punky, maybe being overwhelmed, seeing how I left the living room with all my stacks of papers and my computer and all my stuff, my books and stuff that I'm working on. And it a little bit overwhelming because it was kind of this chaotic space. And I ended up thinking the thought of being overwhelmed or being tired, and then started to feel overwhelmed and tired, and then continued to feel that by saying to Amy, I'm tired and I'm feeling overwhelmed, or saying it to myself, or telling my neighbor, or whatever. So I encourage you to think about what are the words that you are saying throughout your day. Because ultimately what I wanted was to have that clarity. And this has happened several times in my life. Like I can tell you a long time ago, you guys may or may not know me personally, but I would say 20 or so years ago, you would not even be able to recognize me. And I don't mean physically recognize me, but just how I talked, how I acted, things that I said. I was very, very negative. I was very pessimistic. I was down on myself. I hated life. I hated people. I hated myself. It was awful. And it was an awful existence. But what I wanted to experience is I wanted to be happy. But what I really, really wanted was I wanted to like myself. And because I had all these bad experiences, I tended not to like myself. Well, I'll tell you right now, if you don't like yourself, it is going to be a miserable existence for you. So then my suggestion to you, if there's even an ounce of that you are not your best friend syndrome in your body at all, is that I recommend you figure out right now how you can become your own best friend. Because if you have the ability to learn, then you have the ability to transform your life. If you have the ability to learn, that means you just need to learn a new thing. So if you're in a relationship that sucks, you have the ability to love yourself so you can attract and demand the respect and friendship in a relationship. and find that love. If you want to lose weight, you have the ability to figure out some nutrition, test some things, see what works. And if you're getting the right nutrition, then your body starts to adapt actually quite quickly. If you have a lot of pounds to lose, it's okay. You make those adaptations, your body improves. And it could be improved just with confidence. You just start to feel better because you're nourishing your body in the right ways. Then you start to have more confidence in what you're eating and what you're planning and how your body is responding. And then the physical starts to change. You start losing weight, gaining muscle, having more energy, more clarity. You just generally feel better. It's kind of like if you're you've been out working in the garden and or out for a run or whatever you do, and you're dirty and you're gross and your hair's gross and you got sand in places you shouldn't have sand, and then you take a nice shower, and you're like, oh, that just feels so good, right? Eating healthy, drinking water, getting the chemicals out of your body is like taking a shower when you are filthy. Your body will thank you. But if you don't have the ability, if you think you know everything, if you think you don't need the next thing, if you think that your learning stopped at 12th grade, then sister, I am telling you, it is time to hit Google, hit YouTube, hit me up if you want, ask some questions, read some books, and find out to start solving your problems. You have the ability to learn. So the thing that I was hitting back then when I was so negative is I just felt terrible. No matter where you go on this planet, you cannot get away from yourself. Now, you can do things that temporarily, drinking, alcohol, drugs, I don't know, gambling, what other addictions, painkillers, I don't know, excess smoking, I don't know. But video games, Facebook, those are ways that you can escape your reality. But what I'm telling you is there's a lot of power within you becoming your own best friend. There's a lot of power with you becoming your own best friend, because then you take care of yourself. You love yourself and you take care of the things that you love. Just like your partner, your dog, your cat, your boyfriend, your wife, your cousin, whatever, your kids. And if you love them, you do anything for them, right? Okay. Do you love you? Would you do anything for you? Would you get off the couch and go work out? Would you eat well? Would you put the Coke down and drink water instead? Would you start making those transitions? Will you move your body to lessen the pain? Will you take in the information that is good, that nourishes your soul? Will you start to meditate to calm your nerves? Will you start to look at how you talk? If somebody were to walk in your house right now and sit down with a cup of coffee and have a conversation with you, what would you start to tell them? What would be the first 3 topics you would talk about? The great things in your life or the crappy things in your life? Would you immediately start complaining about the weather, politics, COVID, money, your job, the dogs, the stuff that needs work in the house? What would you talk about? And then I'm going to encourage you to start a journal. And day 1, I am heading towards self-love. And on this day, this is how I'm feeling about myself, and it's not all that great. And here's what I want to do, and here's what I want to change. Okay? And then on day 2, how did it go? What did you notice? Oh my gosh, I can't believe how negative I am. Well, no wonder I'm stepping in dog poop every single day. And if you don't know what episode I'm talking about, it's I think it's called Stop Throwing Dog Poop. And it is, I believe, episode 4. Episode 3. And I'm going to encourage you to listen to that so you know what I'm talking about. But our words and our thoughts go out in front of us. And then the next days, a few hours, we walk through what we just threw out yesterday. So if you're throwing out crappy words, you're going to be stepping in it later. If you're throwing out crappy thought, crappy attitude, negative, you're going to continue to experience that. And so what did I start doing? I started literally changing what I was saying, because the thoughts come in so fast and people think that they can't control them. They pop in. It's okay. But you do know what you're thinking, because if you continue to think that certain way, that you will feel the emotion from it. So if you're continuing to think negative, you're going to start feeling negative. And so for the most part of your day, if you're feeling not very happy, then that's because of the things that you're thinking. Now, you might get mad at me for saying that, but if you just tap in, just tune in real quick and just say, hey, how am I feeling in this day? Oh, I'm negative or positive. What number am I on the scale? Oh, I'm feeling a 4. Then you ask yourself, what will it take for me to feel a 5? What's it going to take for me to feel a 5? And then you do that thing. So when I got home from the grocery store, I asked myself, man, I'm like a 2. Like I'm feeling, and I wasn't crabby, but I'm just like punky. Like I just, ugh. And then I think, what is it going to take for me to be a 3? Notice I didn't go a 10, a 3. I'm just going to incrementally move up the scale. What's it going to take for me to be a 3? You know what? I'm going to eat. I need some water. I'm going to go walk on the treadmill. I'm going to take the dogs outside. I'm going to whatever is for you. Now, be careful about what it is that you choose too, because it doesn't sabotage you. Oh, I'm going to eat a bowl of ice cream because I'm pissed off. Okay. Well, now understand that the repercussions of that and those things going together are going to sabotage your health if you are looking to find some health. If you're like, I would really love to enjoy a bowl of ice cream, then do that. But if you notice that you're saying it, you know what, screw it, today sucked. I hated my job. I hated traffic on the way. I'm really mad. The kids are this, the dogs are that. I'm just going to eat some freaking ice cream. You can assume that bowl of ice cream is going to negatively affect you. So what I started doing was changing and realizing. So tapping in and then realizing how I was talking, making a note of it, and then asking myself how I can incrementally move up the scale. And when I heard those 4 famous words several years ago, 21 years ago now, 20 years ago, 20 years and a few months, you have a choice. You have a choice how you look at things. People can cut you off in traffic, and I think, thank God you're not my brother or my husband or my son and driving like that. Maybe he's in a big hurry because something's going on at the hospital. Maybe he's late for work. Maybe he's late for an interview. Maybe his wife is having a baby at work and he has to hurry up and get there. Maybe he's just a jerk. Well, then be thankful that he's not your jerk. So those things that upset us, we can explore those in different ways and look at them differently. Okay? So that was my plan. I started to look at things differently. I started to say things differently. I started to communicate with others differently. Now, the hard part was that I was not very consistent, and it was a hard habit to change. I was consistently a 1. And then I was a 2, and then I was a 1, and then I was a 2, and then I was a 1. And there were good days and bad days, and there was more or less it was good moments and bad days. But I started to see the light. I started to break through my own negative shell. And in that, I started to transform. It's like the little baby bird, that one little peck, and he makes that teeny tiny little hole in the egg, and they starts to kind of just propel out a teeny tiny little bit. That's what you're doing. You're inside that negative shell, and you're just trying to break through a teeny tiny little bit. And it starts with awareness. It starts with you, and it starts with you becoming aware. First, do you even want to change this? And what's the payoff? There's all that kind. And my thought is, of course you do. Because right now you feel like crap. And the things that you're bringing into your life also feel like crap. So how about we change just a teeny bit? And you do that starting with awareness. How do I feel? If it's negative, what number am I? How do I get to be the next higher number? What do I have to do? Is it self-care? Do I need to do something? Do I need to eat? Do I need to rest? Do I need to take a hot bath? What is it that I need to do as far as self-care goes? And then you will slowly start to see change. Because then, instead of me walking into work and being like, oh, and they say, how was your night? I'm like, my night sucked. My life sucks. I hate life. I used to say things like that. Like what do they used to say? Life's a bitch and then you die. Well, I used to say that. Now that is completely opposite of me. I have made a total transformation. And I will tell you, it took several years, probably double-digit years, for me to get to where I am right now, teaching you, helping others, helping women and women entrepreneurs just like you to start pushing the envelope, start pushing the boundaries a little bit. It is up to us, ladies, to change the world, to empower others around us, to be the role model for our kids and even our partners, and to be the role model for people that we work with. You know, you stand around the water cooler and what do you hear? I don't make enough money. They don't pay me well. The insurance, you're not going to believe what the insurance doesn't cover, and the parking and the drive and it's the hours, whatever. And it just goes on and on and on. And I can hardly stand it. I can hardly stand it. And when people are negative around you, it sticks to you. And then you start doing it. So you will find that you will start to transform as soon as you become aware of the words you're using. Someone comes to your house, what do you immediately start talking about? When they start complaining, what do you start talking about? How do you help them? And if you are so far inside your egg, you can't help anybody right now, sister, but I'm here for you. I am here holding your hand on this journey. I believe in you, and I will continue to believe in you until you believe in you. And I will continue to be your best friend through this podcast until you become your best friend. But over time, I became more optimistic. And in that, I started to make more friends. I started to enjoy life a little bit. I was the person where it was sunny and 72 outside. I'd be like, ugh, today sucks. And people were like, oh my gosh, are you joking? Look how beautiful it is. Man, I have to work today. That was me, you guys. That was me like 25, 30 years ago. That was me. So that person that's out there being all surly and everything, that was me. And it isn't me anymore. So you have a choice. It is time to make a decision. It is time to make a decision about what kind of life you want to live, but what experiences you want to have. How do you want to better your life? And in what areas? And it all begins with you. And it all begins with a choice and a decision. And I'm asking you to make that decision today. I'm also asking you to come over to the Facebook group, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind, and check in. Let me know how you're doing. Give me a big fat yes if you're your best friend. Give me a big fat number, whatever number you are on the scale. Let me hear you. Let me see what you have going on. Let me see what you're doing so I can help you, so I can better serve you. Because after I did this and I started to become aware and I started to change my words and I started to change how I talked with people and how I talked with myself, my life started to transform. I became my own best friend. And then the end result is I liked myself. I would get on Facebook and I would send myself a friend request because I liked myself. And anything that I didn't like, I took it upon myself and made a decision about it, and I made a change. I'm asking you to do the same thing. Come over to the Facebook group. Let me know how things are going. Let me know how else I can serve you. Thanks for listening, and if you liked this episode, please take the time to like and share. Also, please visit me on my other social media pages. I'm on Instagram, Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. I'm on Facebook, where we have this community titled Life Mastery Decoded, and it's a community of women and women entrepreneurs where we come together to support one another in sharing our successes and struggles. You can also check out my YouTube channel, where I share my teachings and my personal journey, and it's simply titled Jen Mack, Jenmac. Have a great day, and I hope to hear from you.